Here's an accurate representation of me working on this car. What's up, YouTube? I am back in the garage, continuing to punish myself on the Dodge Viper project. If you've been following along on this project, you know that I've pretty much been non-stop working on this car. I had to go through the whole fuel system. It was just trashed. That then led me to the cooling system when I noticed the leak in the radiator. And while I'm in here, I went ahead and just did more preventative maintenance stuff, plugs, wires, thermostat, obviously heater core. You know, this car is going to be good to go when I'm done with it and I get it back together. All the major mechanical stuff is going to be up to snuff. This car is actually not that bad to work on. Now, if you're going to do your cooling system and get all of this junk out of your way, you might as well just do the rest of it while you're in here. It's not too terribly expensive to do plugs and wires. I think it was probably around 100 bucks, 120 bucks total. So what's left on this car? Well, I've got a power steering leak. I don't know exactly where it's leaking from yet. Speedometer, I know, is not working right now. I need to kind of align the front end a little bit because when I did drive it around the neighborhood, it was definitely pulling to one side. The pedal assembly, the clutch pedal especially, is really, really loose and wobbly. It's actually got a pair of pliers jammed up in there somewhere holding something, so definitely have to address that. And then the last thing on the list is going to be the brake light switch. If you saw the previous video, you'll know I had that hot wire just hanging out and I had my head up underneath the dash looking around and that wire touched something metal, and that's how I found that. I'm getting to a point where this car is almost ready to be enjoyable. This has actually been a really good project. This has been a fun project. I never in a million years would have ever thought that I would be working on a Dodge Viper. I've always kind of been intimidated a little bit because, you know, you walk up to something like this and you see, oh, the hood doesn't even open up all the way, so how are you going to get in there and work? But it's actually really not bad. There's room. You can see everything that I've been able to do. I'm going to go ahead and put my cooling tubes and stuff back on the car and get all of the hoses hooked up, and then it's just a matter of sliding the radiator in when I get back. Anytime you do a thermostat on any vehicle, even though it's brand new, take the time to put it in a pot of water that's boiling and, you know, crank up the heat and watch to make sure that it functions properly. I have a small little heat gun and I just check the temperature and watch and make sure it opens the way it's supposed to and then closes afterwards. You sure don't want to put that in your car, go through all the trouble, and then find out later, oh, it's not working. And now you've just done all that work and you got to tear it apart. Starting to wonder if there's anything on this car that doesn't need fixing. The pedal assembly is out, and the reason I took this out is because this clutch pedal, see all that slop? That's not right. And it was held to the actual master cylinder piece with these vice grips that were just like clamped on the edge of this thing, like right there. So that's how that was staying on, and that's not right. So I got to figure out this clip here, what size that is. I'm sure I have one, and I'm gonna get all this cleaned up and take the slop out of that. Something else I discovered when I was in this area. Yeah, that was wrapped up with electrical tape, and that's not correct. And you can see it's barely hanging on there. So that's all going to come apart, and this is going to get done right, and that's going to get cleaned up and done right as well. I thought there was a cotter pin in here, so I grabbed my pliers, and it's actually a broken drill bit stuffed in there, or it broke off in there. I don't even know, but yeah, there's part of it. I'm gonna keep digging. So I just got back from Ace Hardware, where I picked up an assortment of accoutrements to use to fix my pedal assembly. You can see I've cleaned everything up, painted some stuff, but by the time I get it back together, it's gonna be tight and right. look at this. Look at that, nice and tight. Yeah, like no wiggle at all. Moves freely. Same with the brake pedal. Nice and tight. So the pedal box is fixed for about $2 and probably an hour of my time, as opposed to ordering all the custom bushings that they make and sell at these Viper places for, I don't know, probably would have been like 30, 40 bucks with shipping and all that. And I would have had to wait probably a week. I can put this back in the car today. Look what just showed up. Thank you to the eBay seller for sending this to me. And the way it was boxed up was like overkill, but I absolutely appreciate it. All right, that was the first layer. Break through the second barrier here. There's a third barrier. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. That is exactly what I have been needing. That's a lot thicker than I thought it would be.
That's what she said.
Finally have pedals that do not weeble and wobble. Look at that clutch pedal, nice and tight. See how this brake line right here is run, and the bracket's bolted down there, and it comes back over. That's correct. This one, not so much. Of course I'm going to fix it, but is this going to be a quick, easy fix, or is this going to lead me farther down the rabbit hole into God knows what? Okay, it's fixed. Not as big of a deal as it could have been. I don't know who messed with this, how long it's been. Heck, it could have been years and years. This brake line right here was completely bent in two different directions. I had to completely remove it from the caliper. Then I was able to get this bracket down to the bolt that's on the spindle. And then from there, I just took this top part and kind of started tweaking it very, very subtly, very easy with the right tools. Lock to lock, it clears just fine. This is the way it needs to be. I got my radiator back. Yeah, look at that. They did a nice job. That core was pretty expensive. I think just the core alone, before the labor and all that, just the core was $600 for this radiator. It does have thicker tubes in it than what was in there before, so it's got a little bit more weight than it used to, but it will cool a whole lot better. So I had to go and make some studs to put in here to hold the fan on, because there was only one right there and one right there, and that ain't gonna do it. I'm also working on a plate. This is going to cover where my heater core went in, and I had to modify that box. So this is going to go over that. This will get cleaned up and painted and hopefully sealed, and you won't even know that I did anything if I do it right. If I do it right. Well, that was a bit of a challenge getting that bolt and that bolt in, because this radiator has to squeeze in, it's really tight, and then go under this plastic shroud. And there's two pins at the bottom that have to go into these rubber pieces that go through the holes in the frame there. So it's got to kind of come in like this and then twist and push down, and then you got to pull. It wasn't horrible, but it definitely took some time. Lucky for you guys, you get to watch these videos and have them edited and it just goes like that, when in reality some of these jobs, some of these tasks take an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a day, a week. Radiator and fan are in. Looks good. All right, just got to hook up some cooling lines. Everything's hooked up at the bottom, just got to do it up top. And then I can put my air box back on, and we are getting close, boys and girls. I wanted to double check the fuse box, make sure all the fuses were correct as per the manual, and these are the only fuses that are correct, in the correct position, and the correct size. All of these were not correct, so I'm gonna fix it. Everything is back on the car. Yay. Everything is tidy and neat and sealed. We are almost ready for blast off. So fuse box has been corrected. Heater box here, the top is all sealed. Everything is back where it needs to be. I've chased wires for the speedometer. I think I have that solved. The only thing left to do, I think, is check out that power steering leak. Gonna have to bleed the brakes, gonna have to flush the cooling system before I final fill it. And then tires? I think that's it. I'll double check my list, but so close, so close. Now that I've decided to modify my car to take this new heater core, I'll make a separate video on how to install that heater core in the Viper. That'll probably just be for like Viper owners that are going through the same thing that I'm going through, can't find them, can't find one that's reasonably priced, etc. So that video will be coming up very soon just for that. As far as everything else goes, stay tuned, because you know I'm gonna find something else that's wrong with this car. Will I ever get out of this hole? Thanks so much for watching. Stay hungry, stay foolish.